Have you ever thought that taking an early morning shower is a healthy way to start the day? That it wakes you up, gets your blood flowing, and helps you feel ready for whatever comes next? Well, if you are over 70, that very habit one you may have had for decades could actually be silently working against you. It could even cost you your life. This is not an exaggeration. It is a truth that most people do not want to hear, and very few seniors ever learn until it is too late. Let me introduce you to someone who learned this the hard way. His name is George Franklin. He is 78 years old and lives alone in a quiet neighborhood in Topeka, Kansas, a retired firefighter. George spent his whole life running into danger when others ran away. He is proud of his independence, and he still mows his own lawn, drives to the grocery store, and reads the morning paper with a strong cup of black coffee. Every morning, for the past 40 years, George would get up at 5 a.m., drink a glass of water, and jump into a hot shower before sunrise. I've never been afraid of heat. He used to joke, hot water, hot flames, bring it on. But one Tuesday morning last month, everything changed. At exactly 5:20 a.m., George collapsed in his bathroom. He had just stepped into the shower. The hot water was running, and the steam fogged the mirror. He remembers feeling a wave of lightheadedness. The next thing he knew, he was waking up in the emergency room, confused and connected to a heart monitor. It turned out that George had experienced a dangerous drop in blood pressure, what doctors call orthostatic hypotension, triggered by a combination of early morning dehydration, medication timing, and the stress of sudden heat exposure. George was lucky. His neighbor, Mary, had noticed that his porch light was still on by 7:30 a.m. and decided to knock. When he didn't answer, she used the spare key he had given her last Christmas. If Mary had not checked in when she did, George might not be here to tell his story. Why did this happen to a man who had been healthy, active, and cautious? Because after age 70, our bodies begin to change in ways we do not always see or feel. Our blood pressure regulation becomes more fragile. Our ability to control body temperature weakens. Medications, especially blood pressure drugs, hit harder. And when you combine all that with hot water, a slippery floor, and early morning fatigue, you create what experts call a perfect storm. It is not about weakness. It is not about fear. It is about biology and being smart enough to adapt to it. That early morning shower might have worked for you at 50 or even 65, but at 75 or 80 it can be deadly. This video is going to walk you through the exact reasons why early morning showers are a hidden danger for seniors, and more importantly, what you can do today to protect yourself or someone you love. We will break it down step by step with expert-backed facts, real cases, and simple changes you can make starting tomorrow. You deserve to stay safe, independent, and in control of your daily routine, but that starts with knowing the risks that nobody talks about. So before we go any further, I want to hear from you. What time of day do you usually shower? And will you consider changing that after hearing George's story? Comment below with the word yes if you are open to shifting your routine to protect your health, or type no if you believe your current habits are working fine for now. Either way, I read every comment, and your experience might help someone else watching right now. Let's get into it. Number 1. Independent living. The trap of overconfidence. After George's wife passed away 5 years ago, He insisted on staying in the home they had shared for nearly 3 decades. His daughter offered to have him move in. His son suggested a small condo closer to town, but George refused. "I can take care of myself," he said flatly. "I always have." And to his credit, he did, at least on the surface. He cooked his own meals, paid his bills on time, trimmed the hedges every other Saturday. His neighbors saw him as the strong, no-nonsense type who still carried himself like the firefighter he once was, the kind of man who walked tall, even when time started to chip away at his body. George had a daily routine that had not changed since retirement. He woke up at exactly 5 a.m. every morning, not because he had to, but because he liked to. The house was quiet. The sun was not up yet, and the air felt clean. He would stretch a little, drink half a glass of water, and head straight into the bathroom. The shower was his ritual. Hot water, steam, silence. He said it helped him feel alive, better than coffee. He would joke. Afterward, he would towel off, throw on a windbreaker, and take a short walk around the block. By 6 a.m., he was usually back inside, eggs on the skillet, flipping through the paper. It was a routine that made him feel in control, solid, predictable, like he was not aging the way the world said he should. George had always believed that staying active meant staying young, and in some ways, he was right. But what he did not see or refused to admit was that independence, without adaptation, can quietly become a form of denial. He started brushing off the small signs, the brief moment of dizziness when getting out of bed, the occasional clumsiness when stepping into the tub, the way his heart sometimes beat faster after showering. It's just age, he told himself. Nothing serious. He even joked with his granddaughter once. "I think I am in better shape than your boyfriend." She laughed, but gently added, "You still have to be careful." "Grandpa." George smiled, but waved it off. That sense of self-reliance, of pride in still doing everything himself, was deeply rooted in his identity. He believed it kept him sharp, useful, respected. But there is a quiet danger in that kind of thinking. Especially after 70, what seems like strength can sometimes blind us to risk. What feels like routine can hide new vulnerabilities. And what we tell ourselves to stay confident can, without warning, put us in harm's way. For George, the habit of early morning hot showers was not just part of his day, it was a symbol of who he believed he still was. Unfortunately, biology does not care about beliefs, and in the bathroom, alone, with the door shut and the water running, confidence does not protect you from the physical truth of aging. It is not weakness to recognize when it is time to adjust. In fact, it is the smartest and strongest thing you can do. Number 2, the signs no one noticed, and a morning that never fully came back. It happened on a Thursday. George woke up at his usual time, 5 a.m. The house was still, the sky outside still dark. He sat up slowly, stretched his arms, and shuffled toward the bathroom like he had done 1,000 times before. There was nothing unusual about that morning. No loud thuds, no cries for help, just a soft click as the bathroom door closed behind him. At 5:30 a.m., George stepped into the shower. The water was hot, just the way he liked it. Steam rose quickly and fogged up the mirror. And then, without warning, his body gave out. The drop in blood pressure came fast. His vision blurred, his knees buckled, and in seconds, George was unconscious, crumpled on the cold tile floor. the water still running. He would not wake up again until hours later in a hospital bed at 8:30 a.m. His daughter Emily sent her usual morning text. Morning. Dad, don't forget to take your pills by 9 a.m. She still had not received a reply. She tried calling. No answer. That was not like him. George always responded by 8 at the latest, a short thumbs up emoji, or sometimes just okay. Something felt off. By 9:15, Emily had left work and was on her way to his house. She found him exactly where he had fallen, still in the shower, barely conscious, skin pale and lips tinged blue. The water had gone from hot to cold. His breathing was shallow. He could not speak. Emergency services arrived within minutes. But the damage had already begun. Doctors at the hospital diagnosed him with severe orthostatic hypotension, a sudden drop in blood pressure that happens when standing up too quickly, combined with hot water, early morning dehydration, and the lingering effects of his blood pressure medication. His body simply could not compensate. To make matters worse, the prolonged exposure to cool water after the fall had triggered hypothermia, further complicating his condition. His core temperature had dropped dangerously low. His heart rhythm was irregular, a form of atrial fibrillation that may have been worsened by stress on the cardiovascular system. He had also suffered a minor head injury from the fall. The doctors were clear: if George had been found just 1 hour later, the outcome could have been much worse. The terrifying part: there had been no major warning signs, just subtle ones like mild morning dizziness, a flutter in his chest now and then, the occasional wobbly step, easy to brush off, easy to ignore. And that is what makes this story so dangerous, because George did not feel like a frail old man. He felt like himself, independent, capable, in control, until the morning his body reminded him, in the harshest possible way, that none of us are immune to time, and that one simple habit, done at the wrong time, can change everything. Number 3, the science behind it. Why early morning showers are dangerous. Most people do not think twice about the time they take a shower. For younger adults, it does not matter much. Morning, afternoon, or night, your body adjusts. But after the age of 70, your body no longer responds the same way. The timing of a shower becomes more than just a routine. It becomes a health decision. Let us look at the science behind this, because what happened to George is not just bad luck. It is biology, and it is happening quietly in millions of seniors' homes every day. Researchers at Harvard Medical School have studied a phenomenon known as the morning surge. This is the rapid rise in blood pressure that occurs naturally as your body transitions from a resting state to an active one. After a full night of sleep, your blood pressure is at its lowest, but between 4 a.m. and 8 a.m., your body starts pumping harder, preparing you to wake up, stand up, and move. In younger people, this rise is smooth and well-regulated. But in older adults, especially those on blood pressure medications, the body can struggle to manage this transition. Blood vessels are stiffer, the heart may not respond as quickly, and medications like ACE inhibitors or beta blockers, which are commonly taken in the morning, can intensify this drop and surge pattern. This is where the danger begins. According to the Mayo Clinic, when you step into a hot shower during this sensitive window, several things happen at once. 1. The heat dilates your blood vessels, which causes blood to pool in your legs and lowers your blood pressure even more. 2. If you are dehydrated from overnight sleep, your blood volume is already low, leaving your brain with even less oxygen. 3. If you just took your morning medication, the timing can cause a double impact, making the blood pressure drop even faster. All of this together can cause dizziness, fainting, arrhythmias, or in the worst case scenario, a fall and head injury. And yes, it gets worse. The National Institute on Aging reports that the highest percentage of bathroom-related falls in adults over 70 happen between 4 and 8 a.m. Not at noon, not in the evening, right in the window when many seniors are showering. So, let us be clear, the early morning hours, combined with hot water and age-related changes, create the perfect storm for accidents. It is not just about slipping on the floor. It is about your entire cardiovascular system being in a vulnerable state while you are standing in the most dangerous room in your house, with no supervision, often behind a locked door. The solution is not complicated, but it requires that you act now, not later. Here is what you must do immediately. Move your shower time to between and 2 p.m. That is when your body is more hydrated, more stable, and mentally alert. Never take a shower within 2 hours of taking blood pressure medication. If you take medicine at 7 a.m., shower at 10 or later. Drink a full glass of water 15 minutes before you shower. Do not wait until you are thirsty, because by then, it is too late. Turn the water temperature down. Use warm, not hot water, somewhere between 95 and 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Install an anti-scald device and slip-proof mats. These are inexpensive and can prevent severe injury. If you are still unsure whether this applies to you, consider this the exact combination that sent George to the hospital early hour. Medication, dehydration. Hot water is present in the routines of thousands of older Americans every day, but most do not realize it until something goes wrong. You do not need to wait for a fall, a blackout, or a trip to the emergency room to make a change. Prevention does not always feel urgent until it becomes the difference between a safe morning and a tragedy. Let me ask you something simple. Would you rather give up a 5 a.m. shower or risk a 5 a.m. fall that leaves you hospitalized? The choice should be clear. So, if you have been showering early for years, it is time to update that routine, not because you are weak, but because you are wise. Make a note, tell your caregiver, or speak with your doctor today. Small changes today could save you tomorrow. If this information surprised you, or if you are already making a change, let us know in the comments. And remember, staying independent does not mean doing things the old way. It means doing things the smart way. Number 4. Important reminders for older adults. The mistakes no one talks about. George did not realize he had done anything wrong. In fact, on that Thursday morning, he believed he was doing everything right, just sticking to his routine, like always. But in reality, he made 4 silent but serious mistakes. Mistakes that, when combined, created a perfect storm. And the worst part, most older adults make at least one of these errors without realizing the risks. Let us look at what happened. First, George showered immediately after taking his blood pressure medication. He had done this for years. Wake up, take the pill, then head straight into the bathroom. But after 70, this simple routine can turn dangerous. Blood pressure medications, especially ACE inhibitors and beta blockers, lower your pressure further in the first hour after taking them. Add to that the natural morning dip in blood pressure and the effects of heat from the shower, and the result can be a sharp drop in circulation to the brain. This is exactly what happened to George. He passed out because his brain was not getting enough blood. Second, George did not drink any water before showering. After 8 hours of sleep, the body is naturally dehydrated. This may not seem obvious. You might not even feel thirsty, but dehydration lowers your blood volume, making it harder for your heart to maintain blood pressure when you stand up. For seniors, this can be a major risk. George usually had a sip of water with his pills, but not enough to make a difference. That morning, his blood was already thick and slow-moving, just waiting for a trigger. Third, the water was too hot. George liked the water hot enough to steam up the mirror. It helped him feel awake, he said, but hot water causes blood vessels to expand quickly, pulling blood away from the core and toward the skin. This drops blood pressure even more, especially dangerous when combined with the factors above. For someone his age, that kind of heat was more than just uncomfortable. It was a physiological shock. And fourth, there was no light or emergency system in place. George had no nightlight in the hallway, no motion-activated light in the bathroom, no grab bars, and no emergency call button. When he fell, no one heard it, no one knew. He was found hours later wet, cold, and lucky to be alive. Had his daughter not checked on him, the outcome could have been far worse. These 4 mistakes are common, not because seniors are careless, but because no one tells them how much their bodies change after 70. Habits that felt safe for decades can quietly become dangerous. George did not ignore his health. He was active, responsible, and self-sufficient, but he lacked the one thing that could have protected him: information. The kind of information that comes not from instinct, but from science, experience, and shared knowledge. And now that you know what went wrong, you can help yourself or someone you love avoid the same trap, because these are not random mistakes. They are predictable, preventable, and they start with awareness. Number 5, the turning point: recovery and relearning how to live at 78. George spent 2 full weeks in the ICU. For the first time in his life, he felt helpless. Nurses helped him sit up. A physical therapist guided him through standing. Monitors beeped every few minutes. Everything had changed. He kept asking himself one question: how could a simple shower nearly kill me? But as the days went on, that question turned into something else. What can I do differently now that I know better? By the time George left the hospital, he was walking slowly but steadily, and more importantly, he had made a promise to himself and to his daughter that he would never let pride get in the way of safety again. The changes started small, but they were consistent. First, George stopped showering before sunrise. From now on, he only showers between 10 a.m. and noon. That gives his body time to wake up, stabilize, and respond better to daily routines. His doctor explained that by mid-morning, blood pressure is more level, reaction time is better, and the risks of dizziness or fainting decrease significantly. George also made a new rule for himself. He drinks 1 full glass of water, at least 15 minutes before stepping into the shower. No exceptions. It is now part of his bathroom routine. The water bottle sits by the sink, so he never forgets. Second, he asked for help. This was not easy for someone as independent as George, but he did it anyway. His neighbor, Carl, a retired electrician, helped him install motion-activated lights in the hallway and bathroom. No more stumbling in the dark. No more guessing where the edge of the tub is. They also added 2 grab bars, one by the toilet, one inside the shower. And most importantly, George now has a waterproof emergency call button attached to the wall beside the shower head. It is not about being weak, George said. It is about staying one step ahead. Third, he changed how he takes his medication. George used to take his blood pressure pills at 5 a.m. like clockwork. Now, with help from his doctor, he takes them at 7 a.m. and does not shower until at least 3 hours later. That gap gives his body time to absorb the medication and recover from its initial effects. These adjustments did not take a lot of money or energy, but they took awareness and the willingness to adapt. Now, a few months after his fall, George is doing better than ever. He is back to walking the block each day, but now he does it after a safe, warm shower in full daylight. With his body fully hydrated and stabilized, he still makes his own breakfast. He still reads the paper. But he does it smarter, more than anything. George hopes others will learn from what happened to him, not out of fear, but out of respect for the way aging changes our bodies. I was lucky, he said, but I do not want someone else to wait for a close call to start protecting themselves. And maybe that is what matters most, not just surviving an accident, but learning from it, growing from it, living better because of it. So now, I want to hear from you. Have you already made changes to your shower routine? If so, what helped you the most? Leave a comment below and share your experience, because your story could help someone else take the first step toward a safer, healthier life. Number 6. What he shared with others. After the incident, George never thought of himself as someone who would speak in front of a group. He was the kind of man who kept to himself, quiet, observant, steady. But after what happened that morning in his bathroom, something shifted in him, not just physically, but mentally. He felt a responsibility to speak up, especially to people his age. I used to think I was untouchable, he told a small group at the local senior center. I figured I had seen it all. Fires, storms, emergencies, you name it. But none of that prepared me for how dangerous my own bathroom could be at 5:30 in the morning. There were 10 people in the room that day, all over the age of 70. They had gathered for the weekly coffee and chat hour, mostly to catch up and share small stories. But George's story silenced the room. He did not dramatize it. He told it straight. The time he woke up, the water, the fall, the hours alone, unconscious, and the changes he had made since then. He shared something simple but powerful. Sometimes, the smallest change can save your life. One man in the back raised his hand and said, I still take my showers before sunrise too. Been doing it for 40 years. George looked at him and said, So did I, until it nearly killed me. That conversation sparked something unexpected. Over the next few weeks, George returned to the center every Tuesday. People started asking questions. What kind of grab bar should they buy? How warm should the water be? Is it really that risky to shower right after taking medication? He answered honestly, not as a doctor, but as someone who had lived through it. Then he went one step further. He visited 3 of his longtime friends from the center ed, Ruth and Leonard, all in their 70s and living alone. Each of them had resisted change in one way or another. They still had dark bathrooms, slippery tiles, early routines. George offered to help, not just with advice, but with action, with Carl, the same neighbor who had installed George's safety lights. They brought over tools and supplies. Within a weekend, all three homes had motion lights in the hallways, non-slip mats in the bathrooms, and shower handles for stability. But even more importantly, George helped them rethink when and how they showered. Ed started showering at noon instead of 6 a.m. Ruth set a reminder to drink water before her routine. Leonard moved his medication time so it would not overlap with bathing. None of them had fallen yet, but now, none of them felt like they had to wait for a scare to make a change. George never saw himself as a teacher, but now, in his late 70s, he was exactly that. He did not lecture. He just told the truth. And that truth, shared plainly and humbly, started to ripple through the community. One voice, one story. But sometimes, that is all it takes to protect another life. Number 7. Call to action. Not just for you, but for everyone you love. Let me ask you a simple but serious question. What time do you usually take your shower? Is it early in the morning? Just after you wake up? Before the sun rises? Before your first cup of coffee? If so, I need you to pause and really think about that routine, because as you have seen in George's story, and in the stories of countless other seniors, that early morning habit may no longer be safe. Not because you have done anything wrong, but because your body is different now, and that difference matters. Here is the truth. The things that kept us healthy and strong at 40 or 50 are not always the same things that protect us at 70 or 80. The body changes, blood pressure regulation shifts, dehydration becomes more common, medications interact with daily activities in ways they never did before, and simple actions like stepping into a hot shower at 5 a.m. can suddenly become dangerous. But here is the good news. These risks are not permanent, and they are not inevitable. They can be managed, avoided, and prevented with a few small changes. So, if you are serious about protecting your health or helping someone you love, do the same. Here is what I recommend you do immediately. First, change your shower time. Make it a rule. No showers before 10 a.m. That is when your body is most stable after breakfast, after hydration, after your morning medications have settled. If you need a reminder, take a sticky note and put it right on your bathroom mirror. Write shower, after 10 a.m. in bold letters. See it every morning. Follow it every day. Second, prepare your bathroom like your life depends on it, because it might. Install a motion-activated light in your hallway and bathroom. Place non-slip mats inside and outside the shower. Add a grab bar or shower handle near the entry point. Set your water heater to no more than 100 degrees Fahrenheit, and consider installing an anti-scald valve to keep your water temperature safe. These upgrades are not expensive, and you do not need to do it all at once, but start with one. Make your bathroom a place of safety, not risk. Third, talk to your doctor about your medication schedule. Many blood pressure medications are most powerful in the early hours of the day. If you are showering during that window, you may be putting yourself at risk for fainting, dizziness, or worse. Do not guess. Do not assume. Call your doctor. Ask this question directly. Should I adjust when I take my medication to better match my daily routines? It is a 5-minute conversation that could prevent a life-changing fall. You have heard George's story. You have seen the science. You know now that the risks are real, but also that they are fixable. So now it is your turn. This video is not just about George. It is not just about seniors in Kansas or Florida or California. It is about you, your bathroom, your routine, your safety. If you are over 70 or care for someone who is, this message is for you, because showering early is not just a habit. For some, it is a hidden danger. But once you know the truth, you can change the outcome, and I hope you will. Before we wrap up, I want to ask you one final thing. Leave a comment below to let us know where you stand. Type 1 if you are going to change your shower time and take action to protect yourself. Type 0 if you still have concerns or questions, and I will personally do my best to respond and explain further. Your voice matters, your health matters, and your experience might help someone else reading the comments right now. We are building a community here, one where older adults can share knowledge, support each other, and make small, powerful changes that lead to longer, healthier lives. Because living longer is not just about adding years to your life, it is about adding strength, safety, and confidence to the years you already have. So stay smart, stay safe, and do not wait for a fall to wake you up. Make the change today.